Start with GBC matters, and then they discuss the group. So I raised all these different points, how the Prabhupada tradition, through Vaishnava tradition, the various Shastric evidences that worshipping the Guru, and this is a system. Even the Gaudiya Math now has started daily Guru Puja following Prabhupada. Living in Mayapur, we always took the attitude, Prabhupada took the attitude, we established the standard. We don't follow the other Gaudiya, we follow it, make the standard. So I presented all the things, but so then what happened was that they started to say that, well, when they couldn't give any answer, so like for one thing I said, well, Prabhupada's disciples are more senior, they're more mature, more advanced in many ways. You can say, although that's, but Prabhupada said that they required to bow down to their Guru every day and beg for forgiveness for their offenses. So the grand disciples are much less advanced, much more neophyte, as the rule says. So then how much more they need to bow down to their Guru and beg for forgiveness for their offenses?
Well, not only that, then he made the point that, because he was talking about Guru Sadhu and Shastra, and he said, wasn't said directly by Prabhupada that we have to worship the spiritual master like this, and it's not in Sadhu. And he said, there's really no Shastra. He said, but then I remembered the verse of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that we sing every morning. The spiritual master is to be worshipped just like Krishna. And then he says, this is approved by all authorities.
Well, I asked, when I came to America, the Rupanuga Prabhu came in and told me that you should have all the candidates for initiation take an exam. And he said, Prabhupada had this, was an assistant. And so then I asked him, the questions that Prabhupada would have asked. So he told me the 3 questions. I've been doing that religiously. That was a good advice, there's nothing wrong. So the 3 questions, the first is, why are you convinced that you want to serve the Guru for your whole life and even life after life? The second one, why do you worship the spiritual master equal with God? Almost, as you would worship God. And the third is, why are you convinced that the Guru speaks the absolute truth? So there, probably the second question that you take at the time of initiation is, why do you worship the Guru as you worship God? So there are many. The thing is, when I came in and had the whole discussion, and when I didn't have any answer, then sometimes people would kind of stoop down to the point of just saying, why are you so attached to your seat? Why are you simply defending your seat? So even that didn't, fully stand pretty stubborn back.
Not my seat.
Not my seat. But I'm saying they had to sit on it.
The seat of Sri Guru. Sri Guru is the representative of Krishna. The problem is, they don't understand the philosophy of discipular succession. That it is the duty, it is the service of the spiritual master to accept whatever a disciple offers. If he offers a leaf, a flower, a little fruit, or water, that's all right. That's what we give to Krishna on behalf of the disciple. If he offers a golden car, a Vyasasan that's 10 feet high, that's all right. We can accept it and offer it to Krishna. Spiritual master, Prabhupada said, was like a peon. He is taking what the disciple offers and gives it to Krishna, like a postman. The postman doesn't discriminate between the letter that has no money in it and the letter that has $1 million in it. They're both taken to their destination according to the address on the front. If the postman refuses to accept, I can't take this letter, it has $1 million check. Is he a good postman? No, he's a useless postman.
What seat the disciple offers is big or small, whatever it is.
That's up to the disciple. But you cannot tell a disciple he cannot offer. I say it's wrong to tell a disciple you have to offer. You have to offer the best you have, that's all. If you are a poor man, then you offer something small. If you are a rich man, you offer something big, opulent. Because that is the principle that we have to give the best. Someone said, God doesn't look at how much you give, but He looks at how much you keep back. Krishna says He's satisfied with a leaf or a flower. But if you want to offer Krishna a leaf or flower, and for yourself, fix halwa, rasgul, or Prabhupada said that won't work. The problem is they don't know the philosophy.
The thing is that after discussing, and then I really know I was surprised that although I had the Vrindavan pundits, everyone was there. They didn't have any. There isn't any. I didn't think it, but they didn't have any strong arguments in terms of that what we're doing is unauthorized or something.
Well, just look at Satsvaru's book. Satsvaru, what does he quote? He hardly ever quotes Prabhupada. He quotes Srivasacharya, quotes Gaudiya Math, and he quotes majority opinion. Now I never knew Srivasacharya in Vrindavan from Radharamon temples.
No, yeah, that's what's his name. Vishwambar Goswami.
Yeah. So anyway, those three. So I never knew they were the authorities of Krishna consciousness.
Prabhupada said the three most dangerous things to our movement, at least in India.
And Caste Goswamis.
Caste Goswamis in Vrindavan, his godbrothers, and then the municipality in Bombay. So now, in Bombay, I put up this proposal that we shouldn't go outside of ISKCON to take any instruction, which is already a GBC resolution. And all of the disciples of Prabhupada there accepted that, except for the 2-3 people from Vrindavan. They passed that as a recommendation or whatever resolution in the meeting. But no ISKCON guru is supposed to be called as a Srila. But in the book they say Srila Narayan Maharaj. I don't know if you know that. And the problem is that I was preaching to some disciples of Bhagavan who were visiting in India, and then because everyone was going to Narayan, they also went to Narayan. But then tried to preach to them they shouldn't take more shelter of Prabhupada's movement, Prabhupada's books, but they, once they get in the habit of going, next thing they went to Sai Baba. So,
well, the latest rumor I hear is that Tamal Krishna is going to move that we reestablish relations with, or establish relations with Srila. Things have gotten really crazy.
The thing is, after everything was said and done, and I stayed up in Prabhupada's quarters there in Bombay with chanting, I talked with some of the godbrothers, and I saw that it wasn't really so much the philosophical point, because if you come right down to philosophy, they didn't have a very strong point, but it was the point that considering a number of gurus or different leaders, they had not lived up to the mark or whatever, or for various reasons, they wanted to just concentrate on Prabhupada. So some people go very radical, and they want to stop the worship of the guru and things like that. But I consider that, especially since the Mayapur is like a world center, and we have people coming from all over the world, and the people, it's like if you're eating and people look at you and they're hungry or you don't want to eat, or just some, there's certain things, how can you accept worship of people, even from your disciples, if there are other people there who are visibly upset about that? So then I
can do it. I'll tell you how I can do it, because I'm not accepting it for myself.
You don't accept it for yourself, but why?
And then I'm not concerned. I'm doing a service to Krishna. I'm Krishna's representative for accepting service. If someone is envious, that's not my problem.
It's not only... there are some people that are envious, no doubt, but I would say...
Well, if people are ignorant, it's not my problem. I can try to enlighten them. But I don't have to perpetuate their ignorance.
I thought that after considering that it was better for the unity of ISKCON to move my Guru Puja to another place for the time being.
No, I don't agree. Because you have slapped Prabhupada in the face.
How?
First of all, if he's the so-called founder Acharya, that means to do things like he did it. What do you think founder Acharya means? Acharya means one who does by example. He taught us what was Guru Puja. He said Guru Puja was more important than Mangal Arati.
Guru Puja continues.
All right. And he taught us how to perform Guru Puja. He taught us to sing every day, that the spiritual master should be worshipped just like Krishna. Do you keep Krishna in the closet?
I don't do it in the closet.
Well, worship Krishna. Worship Krishna in your room. Worship Krishna in your room. And then we won't offend the Christians. Don't bring the deities out where people can see it. They'll say you're worshipping idols.
Well, just like I went in one temple and...
you see, you become a party to their ignorance by this. And you help to perpetuate it.
They don't, by Prabhupada would...
And your disciples are confused.
My disciples aren't confused. They're doing their daily Guru Puja, they're keeping everything.
But they lose their enthusiasm for Guru.
No, they become more enthusiastic.
No. I've not seen that. I've seen, for instance, in Satgur's zone. I've seen it in Sharyadev's zone. Well, they're still told they can do it in their room.
Oh, but they have organized Guru Puja. For the dragging into a fundamental thing, not that it's a permanent thing, but then we're going to properly establish...
It's the same thing as changing Prabhupada's Gita. They changed the Gita, now they're changing his Guru Puja as he established it. He said, you become regular Guru. He didn't say you become a new type of Guru. He didn't say, I'm the only founder Acharya Guru, it'll be just for me.
I don't accept that
So he taught us how to perform it. Why shouldn't we follow Prabhupada's example?
It will actually allow a dialogue, a unity, to properly establish the system.
That is not unity. Prabhupada said what was our unity. Prabhupada said, our unity is you're chanting 16 rounds, I'm chanting 16 rounds. You're following 4 regular principles, I'm following 4. Let them follow 4 regular principles. They are not. A lot of those people who are big leaders on this thing are not following the 4 regular principles. That's our unity. Unity in falsehood is no unity.
Just like in Prabhupada's palace, you worship Prabhupada. Now, other people aren't worshiping. So in New Vrindavan, you have a palace, and you have the temple room. Mayapur, we have our complete samadhi, but in a temple. So once the samadhi is completed, I don't think it would be... I personally think that the puja, I don't find anything wrong with doing it, and I defend it. There's nothing wrong with doing it in the temple. It's very natural to do it. We always did it there because we had always more than one guru, and everyone would come together in one place. But at the present time, if people want to concentrate on Prabhupada...
But how does that concentrate on Prabhupada? Do you honor the Father by diminishing His Son?
You don't diminish the Son. How is it diminish the Son?
Well, that's what they're doing.
They're doing what I'm saying, that this is what...
Then we have to teach them. If you want to honor Prabhupada, you honor His Son, His actual follower. Is the Father more pleased when His Son is not honored so much? Tell me, what did Prabhupada say about pleasing a rich man? He said it was a very difficult thing. But if you buy a 5-cent lollipop for his son, the Father is pleased. Prabhupada personally wrote to me at New Vrindavan. He said, I am simply praying to Radha and Krishna, you will surpass me. Now, the mood of the disciple is, of course, that no one is equal to his guru. He never thinks he can become equal to his guru. That's all right. That's a sentiment. But Prabhupada said, I want you to do more than I did. And we should try. Didn't Prabhupada do more than Bhaktisiddhanta? Is Bhaktisiddhanta minimized because Prabhupada did more? Or is Bhaktisiddhanta glorified because Prabhupada did? Where did Prabhupada give the credit? What did he say was his greatness? My greatness is coming from my Guru Maharaj. That's discipular succession. Whatever greatness you see in the present Acharya is due to the past Acharya. And whatever defects you see in the present Acharya, the blame goes to the previous Acharya. So if they say Prabhupada cannot have any sons equal to himself, that means that he didn't have any potency. It's an insult. If we can say that Prabhupada has millions of sons, then that's glorious.
Well, that's the first. Prabhupada means one who has many prabhus or many masters at his feet.
And that's what we want. We want to have qualified men. Men who are credit to Prabhupada. Not that we embrace this Christian philosophy, no one can be equal to our Acharya.
Just like Narahari, he said many good things in that
Narahari's right on.
Krishna Bhajanamrita. Because he said he could anticipate what were the problems in the future. So in his book, first thing he dealt with was Guru. That there'd be confusion with who's the Guru, how to deal with Vaishnavas and Guru. Then the second one was who's Krishna. Then of course for India, the other two were who are the demigods. How do they relate with Krishna and who was the Shakti. Especially in Bengal, Shakti is a big thing.
Yeah.
But so I mean, the Guru...
That's excellent. It's almost exactly what I've been trying to say.
Of course, there he did say that the previous Guru should get double the worship.
Huh? No objection. Prabhupada gets about
10 times.
10 times, 6 times at least. He's worshipped 6 times a day. Even if we're worshipped once a day. I'm not there for Guru Puja, usually once a day. I go maybe once a week for public. But the Guru Puja is performed in the temple every day. Prabhupada is there for 6 pujas a day. Six offerings.
Narahari also, he gave us elaborate description on how, if you know that someone is spiritually strong, and you don't give them proper worship.
That is a great offense.
It's a very great offense. Then you have
to worship someone who's not so spiritually strong overly. I mean, if you give them more worship than they really deserve, that's not much of an offense. But to not worship someone who's qualified is a great offense.
I mean, elaborately went into that. Then, of course, in the end he said, but if you can't figure out who's advanced and who's not advanced. After he gave this whole, almost a dozen verses or something, he said, but ultimately you can't figure it out. You can't understand who's advanced, who's not advanced. Then you take it like Ganges. Some of our waves are big and some are small, but all the waves are holy. So then you just respect everyone equal. In the beginning is that you say
then you're worshipping Sri Guru. You're worshipping the spiritual master who would manifest differently in different vessels. But your worship is for Sri Guru.
Prabhupada, did he mention this, the word as Sri Guru like that? I mean, he would always mention the worship the parampara. You approach the parampara. I was personally present when Prabhupada said that how that whole problem came in Vrindavan when the four sannyasis were there. When he immediately came from America to India, from Japan and right to India, and he talked to Kirtanananda. So a few days after that, he called me in and he explained the whole thing, because first he tested me to see if I was contaminated, because he considered Kirtanananda to be the contaminated.
He thought it came through Srila.
And then after he asked me some questions, I didn't know what he was talking about, and then he saw that I was innocent and understanding. Then he explained the whole thing to me, so I'd be careful. He said that because they criticized me to Kirtanananda, and they said that, actually Bhaktisiddhanta had ordered your guru to spread this movement throughout the world. So therefore, the actual person who's giving this whole energy or everything is actually Bhaktisiddhanta, and everyone should actually directly have a relationship with Bhaktisiddhanta, because he's the real person behind everything.
That's not the same. That's not Sri Guru.
Then Prabhupada explained that because
Sri Guru refers to the energy or the empowerment of Krishna. Krishna empowers first Vyas, or first Narada, then Vyas, then coming around. That empowerment is Sri Guru.
Just to finish the example, because I haven't got that. That because they jumped over one,
they can jump over all.
And the next they jumped over all, so then they start saying that Prabhupada
which is impersonal.
It becomes impersonal. So you have to approach the
present Acharya.
Present Acharya to go attach to this specific succession to the present Guru. You can't jump over it.
That's good.
But when they said that Prabhupada was everyone's Shiksha Guru, I objected to the use of that term. Now you could say so they changed it where they said that his teachings are the ultimate authority in his time.
That's correct.
Definitely correct. Otherwise, if you say that, well, Prabhupada is your direct Shiksha Guru, then why not Vyasadeva?
Right.
And then why not Krishna?
Exactly. If they stick to the books and the philosophy, there's no problem. That is our agreement. That's our unity. But if we change the books, then next year they'll be changed again, because just like what's his name? Swami, he was in Singapore for a while. Rohini Kumar Swami. He's done an analysis of the new Gita, and he says that it's more fallacious. There are a lot more mistakes than in the old Gita. So then we'll have to have a new one in a couple more years to correct the mistakes in this one. And then we'll be almost up with the Christians. He's documented it very well.
The point is that what some of the disciples of Prabhupada are making, of course, in my zone I didn't really have any problem, because like in this zone or other, we've always told everyone that God brothers shouldn't be present or don't have to be present, or don't have to worship. They're not, it's a different relationship. And moreover, we always said that if people want to take initiation from whoever they have faith in, they have that right.
Exactly.
Just what's your name?
Kashi Mishra.
Kashi Mishra. We didn't have that system that everyone has to take.
Right.
So we didn't have any difficulties. But at the same time, there are, in other parts of the world, or even, some devotees may feel that, when the puja is in the temple, one of the things they say is that, then they have to leave the temple, or they feel uncomfortable, or they don't feel...
But if it's the last thing in the morning program, what's the harm of them leaving the temple? They don't have to come back.
Well, that's still, it's just, as I said, it's not a philosophical point. What it really is, it's more like a sentimental point with them.
I mean, things can be arranged. That's easily adjusted. But, they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you say the water's dirty, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Point is, we raised the topic in that Dallas meeting, expanding the preaching in North America, which was the real reason for North American GBC meetings to begin with. When that topic came up, they said, until all these things are settled, we cannot discuss this topic.
Well, that's because there's practically no preaching going on in North America.
It's a good reason to discuss.
Why? I mean, I'm getting 6 or 8 big medium. I've spoken to over 100 million people in the last 3-4 weeks. And it's not just because of New Vrindavan or because of some controversy. Anybody could go. Because the questions they ask are, what do you believe? What's with the Hare Krishna? Why do they dress like this? What do you do? They're interested to know about Hare Krishna. I had a big show this morning, and at the end of it, the guy said, well, I'd like to get a hold of one of the people from the local temple and have a show with them now. Anybody could be doing this, any leader.
I do in South America and India all the time.
Great.
They raised it one radio, but you're doing a lot in North America now. The point is that I couldn't ever understand why, on what basis they were stopping all the pujas or all the whole Prabhupada gave us. At the same time, so that's why I didn't change it. At the same time, when I saw, that when I'm seeing now that they're so preoccupied with it, then I came that...
what will counteract it is preaching. Preaching on the basis of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That's what corrects all error.
I find it a lot easier to preach on the platform of just having the disciples worship in the next room until now you're satisfied, we're worshiping Prabhupada in the temple room. And then on their own, they turn around and say, actually, it was better if now 98% of the devotees, they all leave and go to the next room. It's not really practical. They turn around the other way. But if you just force it and say, no, I want to do it, then it's like a sentimental issue. It goes beyond philosophy.
Well, of course, if it's the next room and they actually have a regular Guru Puja, then it's not so bad, but that's a practical matter. But as far as I know, in most places, they've stopped the puja. They've destroyed the Vyasasana.
Yes, I won't mention the name of the temple. I went to one temple, and they said that we're a bit hesitant to have you speak. Just because, then...
several temples have told me, don't come.
Then he said, well, one of the reasons is that, you have some disciples here, but we've already removed all of the Vyasasana. So we don't know if we offer you a small cushion, they'll be offended, but if I offer you a big seat, even I don't have one to offer, but if I were to offer, then there are others would be offended. So then I explained, this is my whole thing right now, I'm just trying to I want to see my own disciples that they maintain the system Prabhupada gave us, but just to concentrate on Prabhupada, let the fever come down and then establish the proper
to concentrate on Prabhupada is not what he taught us. He didn't teach us to concentrate on Bhaktisiddhanta.
Publicly.
Well, he didn't teach us to concentrate on Bhaktisiddhanta in the public either. He never even mentioned Bhaktisiddhanta for the first few years.
Well, he explained why. That was a different reason.
Why?
He said because the other disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta did not follow his instructions, because they didn't work under GBC, they didn't cooperate, they didn't follow his instructions, because basically they were opposed to what Prabhupada was doing. If he gave too much prominence to Bhaktisiddhanta, then that would give them an opportunity to try to get more influence in the movement and destroy his preaching.
But that really doesn't make sense. He could have told us about Bhaktisiddhanta. It was in our temple. He could have told us about Bhaktisiddhanta as he wanted to. And he could have told us, yes,
he told us,
as I am loving Bhaktisiddhanta, you also have to love me. But actually, he taught us to love him without telling us anything about Bhaktisiddhanta.
He told us a lot about Bhaktisiddhanta. We just didn't have a daily worship or any kind of formal worship of Bhaktisiddhanta. But
actually,
Brihat Madrangi, all the orders, he told us a lot of things about Bhakti.
Not just incidentally in his lectures, or he would mention briefly. But factually, we didn't even know, for the first year, we didn't know anything about it. I remember when we first found a picture of Bhaktisiddhanta in the library, and we brought it, and Prabhupada said, oh, that is my Guru Maharaj. Then somebody found Brahma Samhita. Prabhupada never told us about it. Prabhupada never recommended that we use Bhaktisiddhanta.
He told me not to read Bhaktisiddhanta. I was reading one Bhaktisiddhanta. So why are you reading it? Read my book. Those books are written for me.
Right.
But Prabhupada did say that his books are written for the next 10,000 years.
So that's fine. And I've never suggested that we not keep Prabhupada's books as the authority. Prabhupada's books are the authority, but Prabhupada himself said we should also write books. He said it was the duty of every Vaishnava to write books.
Because in Mayapur, I was gone one day, and then Vitashan Maharaj, he unilaterally just removed the assistant. He came back, and various godbrothers came to me. They were very upset that why he unilaterally did that. So they called their council, they called their council meeting, and then they raised all these philosophical points. Anyway, Prabhupada said if you're going to do any change, it should only be once a year. Apart from that, why should there be any change in all the philosophical reasons? Because they're very much established in the traditions and the philosophy, the Prabhupada disciples. So then it was put back on that basis. So when I came back from the Bombay meeting, there's already very strong opinion. So then I explained the point that, I raised all the points. There's no answer. But still the bottom line, somehow or another, they're totally, they don't even listen. They won't even listen to the things you have to say at this point. You can't even preach philosophy. Some of them, it's just like it's a matter of sentiment.
Why is that? The majority of Prabhupada disciples are in New Vrindavan. The majority of Prabhupada disciples in the world that are in temples are in New Vrindavan. Now there they don't feel like that.
In Mayapur they don't feel like that either.
In Mayapur they don't feel like that. Then
maybe in Calcutta they feel, maybe in Gujarat.
But why? Then I'm saying why.
well, I found that it's not, there's different reasons. There's so many, the people have
basically because they're being influenced by people. They're hearing from the wrong source.
And then?
Therefore I say that the solution to the whole problem is vigorous preaching. For instance, every temple I've been to, when I speak, devotees usually say, "Wow, that's what I thought our philosophy was." When they hear, they recognize, actually, that's our philosophy. So all it takes is some good preaching. And especially if they heard from 2 or 3 different individuals like yourself, myself, there'd be no question. We could stop this poison.
I was telling you that temple I went to that day, hesitating. So when I explained, all right, just for the letting the thing, I told my disciples, go in another room, and do the puja, just so that, and then we'll discuss the thing and because so many things came in from Sridhar, came from different things, we should just establish the Prabhupada standard. So then immediately when you say things like that, then he said, actually, I want you to give a lecture here in the temple, and then he found some big cushion. I mean, actually they want to respect Vaishnavas, they want to have people preach, but they've heard so many things.
Yes, so they don't, when it's actually explained that the Guru is simply representative, that what you're offering to the Guru is not offered to him personally, it is offered to him because he is representing Krishna, or the previous Acharya. And in turn, he's offering it to his spiritual master. So if they just give me a half-inch cushion on the floor, what can I offer Prabhupada? I have to offer Prabhupada the same cushion. That means Prabhupada's sitting on a half-inch cushion. See, when you think about it that way, it doesn't make any sense.
One of the points is that they're saying that because some of the initiating gurus, they took that position, so much of being the representative, is that then where Prabhupada said we should work under a GBC, we should cooperate in that way also, that then they take it that they're just totally independent, they don't have any other authority.
And then what we have to do is we have to get all of Prabhupada's statements about the GBC, and we have to make our organization conform to all of the statements, not just 1 or 2. For instance, Prabhupada said the GBC is the ultimate managing authority. Without any doubt he said that. I accept that. Prabhupada also said the GBC should meet once a year for 3 hours. I accept that. Prabhupada said that the GBC men should be exemplary in following the regulative principles. I accept that. Anyway, all of these statements have to be taken together. I've come to the conclusion, I hope to have this ready by Mayapur. I want to write a paper on what kind of organization fits all of Prabhupada's statements. And I think it will be found to be an organization that I've temporarily or tentatively named Transcendental Anarchy. Because Prabhupada said that Brahmins prefer anarchy, Kshatriyas prefer monarchy, Vaishyas prefer capitalism, and Sudras prefer socialism. Now, obviously, we have to have an organization that fits all of these. In other words, for some it appears, notice I'm saying, anarchistic. For others, it appears monarchistic. For others, it appears capitalistic, and for others, it appears socialistic. Now, how is that possible? That is possible under a system of transcendental anarchy, wherein the force is love and trust. This is what Prabhupada taught. It's not dependent on an army. It's not dependent on revolutions. It's dependent on love and trust. Anyway, I hope to develop this and have it ready for my book.
13 days.
So I've written about 6 books in the last month. 6 months.
You pay them or you just type them?
No, I type them on the computer.
How many pages you type them?
Let's see. 1.
I reorganized my effort following the Vedic structure. I'm going to spend 15 days a month in my effort when I come here.
Great. That's what's needed. This is the first of a book on ashram, Varnashram. This is Brahmachari section.
This one is all the Brahmachari section.
Yeah.
How many pages you write in a day? What's your writing schedule? How do you?
What is my writing schedule? I get up about 1 o'clock and write till Mangalarti 4 o'clock. Then I go to morning program, take breakfast, maybe a little rest. Then by 9 o'clock I'm out of my car driving around. And then during the day, if I have a little time, I type a little more. Mainly I write in the morning, early morning.
That's always time. Otherwise in the day there's so many interruptions.
It's very peaceful. Then I go to bed 6:30, 7 o'clock.
What are these points? 22. Where are these from?
Those are rules for Brahmacharya. I've gathered them here and there. Things that are helpful for maintaining brahmacharya.
You're going to have all this for ashram.
Yeah. Not as elaborately as this, because brahmacharya is the foundation for all ashram. But I wish we'd had something like this 20 years ago. There's a real science to being brahmacharya.
People shouldn't get married before they're 25, the men. Otherwise they found that decreased their output or something. I just got this notice I saw that said men should get married at 25 rather than 16.
Well,
Now they're worried about teenage pregnancies, but if they're
right.
These diseases that they just have them married earlier.
In here I say at least 20. Because the semen, male semen is not ripe, not fully matured until about 20. On the bestseller right now there's a book, it's number 1 or 2, sex may be hazardous to your health. And it's about celibacy.
There's so much research that's done. I was asking some of our scientists, why if someone just went through and just saw all the different research that was done, you'd find so many things that would establish the conscious plane.
But
we don't know.
I'm including a lot of things like that.
Anything that doesn't fit in with the materialistic point of view that no one ever hears about it.
But you see, that's under Bhaktipada. Just like we went through the sexual revolution of the 60s, free sex, now you're going to have a swing back. Actually, it's going to become anti-sex. This book, I think, is going to have a good popular market. The temper of the times is right.
Some of the demons seem very concerned that the people might give up sex life, and now they're even advertising condoms on TV, I hear.
Some minister was giving out condoms in church. But they just had an expose of him. It turned out to be some child molester or some...
And just flying up here from South America, and the Newsweek had said that some of the... it's so common for priests to have illegitimate children.
AIDS is becoming an epidemic in the Catholic Church.
That the parishes have insurance policy which includes maintaining the illegitimate children of the priests.
Well, AIDS has become almost epidemic among priests.
That 40% of the Catholic priesthood is gay. Usually, admittedly 20%, but they said actually 40% would be gay. But if they let it out, then the parish won't pay them. They're all salaried. That's what Bhaktipada objected to, is that the Brahmin shouldn't be hired by a preacher, shouldn't have a salary. The Prabhupada, of course, he was present during many GBC in Mayapur during the 3 years of GBC meetings, and they had always meetings for 4 or 5 days. And he would say, "Why is it taking so long?" At the same time, they would have the meetings. He wouldn't discount the meeting because it took more time than coming to a conclusion.
How to observe brahmacharya. Almost all disease is ultimately attributable to stomach disorder, which in turn is generally due to improper kinds and quantity of food. When food is not proper, well, that will be explained. Well, nutrition implies also total, not just protein. It's protein. There's a decrease in protein and decrease in total caloric count. People are too fat. That makes them more sexy too.
Prabhupada said the Brahman is a little fat. That means that they're less attached to sex activity.
Well, my observation is that devotees are better when they're skinny. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta whenever you would see a disciple putting on some little weight, you'd say, "Oh, I see you're getting really fatty." Never said it approvingly.
But specifically protein, Prabhupada said like the...
Well, protein, of course, is the worst thing. And that's interesting. Prabhupada always spoke of not eating too much protein.
Then he wanted devotees to take soybean. He said not to eat soybean.
A lot. What time are you? Wonderful.
Everyone is inspired. If we get
15, then we have our own parade. And really, we should encourage a temple to take a float. You know what I mean? If Florida, if Miami took a float, Atlanta took a float, St. Louis took a float, Dallas took a float. In Dallas ought to be able to supply theirs. They got a float, didn't they? From that parade? From the Rose Bowl?
They had one. I don't know if they do it every year. They had one.
Anyway, if each temple would be responsible, it wouldn't be a big thing. We get up to people.
Houston is only 6 hours away. Houston, Atlanta.
They could store it. That's a farm here. They want it.
Well, if you do it for the Mardi Gras, then you could even have the floats possibly, we can use them in some other parades. But, like today on Monday, there's only 2 parades. Monday is the day before, they're building it up, they're calling it Lundi Gras. If we had the parade Monday, we would try to steal the whole show because there's only 2 parades today.
I think we could have the best thing anyway.
I don't know the internal regulations that way they can get it any day you want.
And not only that, but you know the original thing in 1860 or whatever, when they started this thing, they used to throw peanuts. We have our own parade. We can throw peanuts, and we say that we're reviving the original custom of Monte Carlo. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because throwing, I would think, can't we throw in, you can't throw food, but if they throw peanuts in those days, then why can't we throw peanuts?
Well, if we have our own parade, we can throw anything we want.
Oh, it's just the rule of each parade.
Just the rule of the parade that we're a part of.
Of each crew.
Yeah. But that'll be that's an easy kind of prashadam to get together, just by hundreds of pounds of peanuts.
So they probably threw the peanuts in the shell in those days.
Well, that's what we'll throw. We can roast them in the shell and throw them that way.
We used to fall on the ground.
You're going to throw them on, somebody will pick them up and eat them. They're not dirty. You just crack open the shell and take steam.
That's great. How far can you throw peanuts? Close?
Maybe you could throw them a long way.
You throw the banana. Sometimes people get a banana in the eye. I wouldn't want to throw banana in the eye. Peanuts are pretty harmless. here with a peanut. I think it's pretty hard to get. So we should research the whole
It takes
market.
about 15 minutes for the Bhaktipada.
So, where's lunch?
You want lunch now?
Well, do you think I want it at 2:30 after we leave?
I want to go see the float.
Yeah, you should.
I saw you on the salad program about a month ago.
Yeah.
And the person that was sitting next to you, saying that every time a question, if I would ask you a question, like before you get through explaining it, you get cut off, and before you get to explain it.
That was still a great show. That was a great show, and the producers of the show kept coming up to us and telling us, hey, you're getting the best of them. And from that show, we'll get on the biggest TV show, the Phil Donahue show.
Isn't that the show sort of rectified, but even after the cameras went off and people in the audience finished for about 20 minutes asking questions?
Yeah, it was really nice. And not only that, some deprogramming was there and an extra audience. So they were raising their point. But then, in the audience, Gopa and her parents were there. Like they were saying something about, we took kids away from their parents. So Mr. Gopalasapriya, he raised his hand and they went over with a mic and he told them, that's not true. My daughter is a Hare Krishna and I'm never discouraged from coming. And he went on to glorify the devotees. He said, actually, I was going to have her deprogrammed. But I started to investigate what these deprogrammers do. And then he went on to talk about what this approach. It was fabulous. Just great.
Just regular American.
Regular American. He's about 60 years old.
We have one friend in Columbus, Ohio. He is teaching. He's Japanese. So he has seen the movie, the program. Kurusa called him because we want to take some lessons with Kung Fu for some of the boys. He said, Bhaktipada, the guru was very good, but the other guy was completely insane. He had any education.
That's the way it came off.
Yeah. The people was more
people were definitely impressed by us a lot more than by them. That's a national show. 30 million people.
When I went to Miami and went to South America, they gave me the paper from Acharya Days. And I also thought that the philosophical points about the Guru Puja are a bit weak. But some of the other quotes, those other quotes you took, were those out of context? Or everywhere, it says like, in the sense that he just meant it as you're explaining that we should try to do.
He misquoted me and he took it all out of context. For instance, I've never said that I'm equal to Prabhupada. A disciple never says that. But I'll say you can become as great as Prabhupada, or you can become as great as Prabhupada. How do you become as great as Prabhupada? Do what Prabhupada did. Surrender to Krishna and go out and preach. In other words, I will not agree that there's a philosophical reason why you can't become as great as Prabhupada. The same empowerment that was available to Prabhupada is still available. It's available to everyone. Now you can say, I won't become as good as Prabhupada.